to bring me happy. Thank you, happy.
You're watching a Captain's Log, a show where we talk all things Star Trek. From breaking news, tantalizing guest interviews of those who are either in front of the screen or behind the scenes. This week, we're bringing you an amazing top 10 list that will have you riveted to your seats. But first, I want to introduce you to our hosts, the Vivacious.
Why, thank you, Raj. It's great to be here today, and I'm excited about today's topic.
And, of course, the venerable, most noble ambassador to the fans. That's you fans. The one and only Bryan Kreutz.
Aww.
Venerable, eh? That's good, Raj. Thank you.
Absolutely. Are you trying to downplay the award you won during the off-season for your script writing contributions to this show?
No, Raj.
Did I make the list this week? Being the child of Roger Corby growing up on X03?
Raj, you little tin can man, at least I can appreciate you wanting to take on extra duties for us here on A Captain's Log. But you should really just stick to what you're good at, okay?
We have an amazing list for you this week that honors the greatest guest stars to grace the small and even big screen of Star Trek. This week's top 10 best guests to star on Star Trek. Starting out this list, we decided to take a look at the children.
I feel I have contributed much to the tapestry that has made Star Trek what it is today.
No, metalhead. You were never on a canonized Star Trek episode. How many times do we have to go over this with you? You always think you or your dad, Roger Corby, are a part of our top 10 list, and you're not. You're not.
What makes this category very hard is that many child actors have a reputation of being pretentious and difficult to work with or even direct, especially given their age and limited training that adults generally have.
There were a few who stood out, but the most popular we feel by far would be the little girl who played the recurring role of Naomi Wildman on Star Trek Voyager.
Absolutely. Now, of course, there were a few actors who played the role, which first premiered in the episode Deadlock, when the character was born via transporter delivery in the famous baby beam-out sequence while Voyager was under attack by the Vidians.
Then later in the series, another little girl played Miss Wildman, and even an alternate reality saw an older Naomi as a Lieutenant Starfleet officer in the Voyager episode Shattered. The actress that we're referring to is Scarlett Palmer. From her character, we were able to view the life of a child growing up on a starship in deep space, which is a cool perspective that you don't see a lot in Star Trek.
I completely agree, Lily. In total, Naomi's character portrayed by Palmer's made only 16 appearances over just the 3 years she was on the show, but really, to me, it seemed like a lot more.
Wow, I can't believe it was that few. It seemed like more.
Yeah, absolutely.
She was always popping up on Voyager. More than that. Okay, well, some memorable episodes for me were Once Upon a Time, her season 5 debut episode where we saw a children's holodeck story program. And in season 6, she became a great friend of 7 of 9 in the Voyager Conspiracy.
Yes, love that episode, even as a whole. That was a great one.
Scarlett is also a native of Southern California, having been born in Riverside in 1988. She has numerous other casting credits, including being a main cast member of the TV show Reba.
Wow, that's really amazing, Raj. And believe it or not, she's in a band, which is called, of all names, Scarlett.
A Captain's Log returns in a moment.
Welcome back to A Captain's Log, where we're going through our top 10 guest stars. At number 9, Zephram Cochrane will be a revered innovator of warp technology in the near future. So to play that role and many others, Trek required a talented actor to reprise the role from the original series.
Our next guest has multiple appearances through 4 Star Trek series and 1 motion picture. He has portrayed the roles of Prime Minister Narok in the Next Generation episode The Hunted, Jaglam Shrek, also in the Next Generation episode, Birthright, 2-part episode in that one, and that took place on Star Trek Deep Space Nine station.
Yes, and later on he made an appearance on Deep Space Nine on board the Defiant as the Krenim Minister Hannock in the episode Starship Down. But most Trekkies will know and recognize Cromwell as the father of modern propulsion, as the inventor of warp drive.
And if you haven't guessed by now, we're referring to James Cromwell, who really broke out as a Star Trek actor in the 1996 film Star Trek First Contact as Zephram Cochrane.
Conduct your warp flight tomorrow morning, just as you planned.
Why tomorrow morning?
Because at 11 o'clock, an alien ship will begin passing through this solar system.
Alien, you mean extraterrestrials? More bad guy?
Now, he popularized the role originally played by Glenn Corbett in the 1960s original series episode titled Metamorphosis, directed by Ralph Sininsky. Now, Cromwell had such great reviews of his portrayal that he came back to reprise the role 3 more times. How about that, right? Now, once an uncredited appearance in Enterprise, that was the first time, and that was the episode titled Broken Bow. It was the premiere of Star Trek Enterprise. Now, again, he reprised the role in a Mirror Universe version of himself. In a Mirror Darkly is the title of that one. And most recently, he was credited as Zephram Cochrane, the hologram in the hilariously animated episode Grounded from Star Trek Lower Decks.
I love Lower Decks.
So do I.
And In a Mirror Darkly was an intriguing episode because in the beginning, we see him as he appeared at the end of First Contact. But this time, instead of being accepted by the Vulcan landing crew, he was shot and killed, which is what set up the start of the Terran Empire in the Mirror Universe. And I have to say that being a huge fan of the Vulcans, I was very shocked when I first watched that opening.
Absolutely. The Vulcans really are your favorite race in Star Trek, aren't they, Lily?
Aren't they everyone's?
Yeah. Now, Spock called them Vulcanians one time in Star Trek, the original series, if you remember that, fans.
Oh, yeah, he did. Every October, I put on my Vulcan ears to celebrate First Contact Day. You thought I was going to say Halloween. But we digress.
Hey, Lily.
Yeah, because
I know about your affinity of all things Klingon, but our viewers should also know that more than the inhabitants of Kronos, your first love is for Vulcans.
That's true.
So I have for you the first Vulcan to make our list.
Oh, yeah. All right. Let's unwrap this and see who we have.
Okay, well, her name is Dr. Solar.
Ooh, yes, one of Dr. Pulaski's able staff from the second season of The Next Generation. Yes, you are talking about the actress Susie Plaxson.
You are 100% correct, Lily.
Yes.
Now, Susie comes in at number 8 on our countdown this week, having multiple roles in the franchise, which includes both Dr. Solar, seen only once, but mentioned many times, and Klingon Ambassador Kalar from The Next Generation, of course. We can't forget that one. We also know that she was in Voyager as a Q, and the blue-skinned Andorian Tara on Enterprise.
Of course, my favorite role she did play was Solar. Kidding. Kalar. We had her on our strongest and weakest Klingons from our top 5 list in season 1.
That's right, we did.
But it's often forgotten that there was in fact a love story set up pairing her with Worf in the Next Gen season 2 episode, The Emissary. Plaxson in the role of Kalar was created, and as luck has it, Plaxson landed that role as well in the same second season as landing the role of Dr. Solar.
Ambassador Kalar. This is an unexpected pleasure.
It's good to see you again, Captain. Lieutenant Worf.
How may we be of assistance, Ambassador?
There's an urgent matter we must discuss, Captain. Permission to come aboard?
I've done my research, BK. Loving all things Vulcan and, of course, Klingon, I couldn't help but notice that Susie Plaxson plays many alien characters from very high-profile races in Star Trek.
Well, it certainly panned out well for Plaxson, as it led to her being most well-known for her role as, you say it, Kalar. Now, her one-off portrayal of the female Q in the Voyager episode titled The Q in the Gray was actually a really good one, too.
Cool.
Yes,
Yeah.
I like that one. Lily, those two.
Yes, Brian.
What a match made in heaven, right? As Roger
Absolutely.
mentioned. Well, moving right along, I have another Vulcan to tickle your fancy, Lily.
Ooh, okay. Like my birthday all over again. Who do you have for me now?
You and I are of a kind. In a different reality. I could have called you friend.
Well, before he was a Vulcan, he was also a Romulan.
Ooh.
And also, not many people recognize that he was also the first Klingon to sport new cranial ridges in Star Trek The Motion Picture back in 1979.
I
Yes.
know who that is. He is the most decorated Federation diplomat who served for 2 centuries and brokered negotiations at Babel for the admission of Corridon into the Federation, as well as lead the team that made contact with the Ligarans. You are referring to the father of Starfleet's finest, First Officer Spock.
Wow, that's impressive. Yes, yes, you would be absolutely correct. Mark Leonard takes the number 7 spot here on a captain's log in our countdown. He was the very first actor to portray roles of the 3 major alien species in Star Trek, the original series.
So cool. Mark was born in Chicago, Illinois in 1924 with the real name of Leonard Rosenson and served in the Army as a paratrooper in World War II before becoming a Broadway actor in 1957.
Wow, really, Lily? That's impressive.
As I recall, I opposed your enlistment in Starfleet. It is possible that judgment was incorrect. Your associates are people of good character.
They are my friends.
He was tapped to replace Leonard Nimoy to fill the role of Spock had his contract negotiations failed for the 2nd season of Star Trek, the original series.
What? Really?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I didn't either until I read it.
Did you know that he was the first choice by the producers to portray Abraham Lincoln in the original series episode The Savage Curtain from 1969, but he was unable to fulfill the role due to other commitments at the time of filming?
No, I did not know that. That's great information.
Yeah.
But, here, I got another one here. What really makes him so undeniable in our minds, other than being Spock's father, was that Sarek has spanned 2 generations of Star Trek, appearing in The Next Generation as well, opposite Jean-Luc Picard. Doing a mind meld.
Yeah, doing a mind meld. Not everyone gets to mind meld with Jean-Luc.
That's right.
He appeared in the Next Generation episodes Sarek and Unification Part 1 before he passed away due to Bandai syndrome, which was so sad. And he's one of the very few who've appeared in multiple series and movies, not to mention that he also voiced the character of Sarek in the original animated series as well. All of which is why Mark Leonard made our list.
Now, talking about those who have transitioned from the small screen to the silver screen of Star Trek, we come to the midway point in our list with the one and only character from just a single episode who was the inspiration for a full-length feature film. He would make you rue the day your father, Roger Corby, ever reanimated you.
And Khan he is.
I've been reading up on starships, but they have one luxury not mentioned in the manuals.
I don't understand.
A beautiful woman. My name is Khan. Please sit and entertain me.
Ricardo Montalban made such an impactful mark on the guest star role that he played in the first season original series episode Space Seed that it stands today as the only episode ever used as a prequel for any movie, as BK just alluded to a moment ago. Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, is generally heralded as the greatest Star Trek movie because of Ricardo Montalban's reprisal of the role, Khan.
Absolutely. Not only was Ricardo's role good enough for one movie, J.J. Abrams also decided to bring the character back for a second time in the 2013 film Star Trek Into Darkness, albeit played by a different actor, Benedict Cumberbatch. Now, it goes to show how great and memorable of a role that Ricardo Montalban did as Khan back in 1967 and on film in 1982.
Yeah, when you can influence multiple generations just out of one, what many would assume to be at the time a one-off performance, that proves that you have what it takes to be on a top 10 list, as both Mark Leonard and Ricardo Montalban are on ours today.
We're going to stay on topic for those who have transitioned their TV roles into movies and a little bit further. Now, beginning in the top half of our list here on a Captain's Log, at number 5 is the world-renowned Whoopi Goldberg, who lent herself to the role of Guinan in Star Trek The Next Generation.
Yes, Whoopi was already a well-established celebrity before she made her debut in the second season premiere of the show. In fact, she relates a story that she came to the producers first and told them what a huge fan of the show she was, and she asked to be a part of it.
I love it. Yes, I vividly remember seeing Whoopi and LeVar Burton talk about their affinity for Star Trek way back on the Arsenio Hall show in the 90s. Now, Goldberg wanted to capitalize on her Star Trek fandom to draw a bigger audience to the show. The producers agreed and granted her request. Now, what to do with her character was really the biggest question, but it was actually easily solved, Lily. A new set was built for the show, 10 Forward, a meeting place that was shown as recently in Star Trek Picard as a set piece. Now, 10 Forward is a place where all the ship's crew could go and relax when off duty. And guess who was in charge? Whoopi Goldberg's Guinan.
Guinan!
Whoopi Goldberg was the catalyst to get the amazing Dwight Schultz cast as Reginald Barkley.
But the gamble worked off with Whoopi.
You know, I had a bet with the captain that I could make you laugh before you became lieutenant commander.
Not a good bet today.
I've seen you laugh. I like it.
She appeared on the show from the 2nd through 6th seasons of Star Trek The Next Generation, then made 2 movie appearances in the 1994 film Star Trek Generations and the 2002 film Star Trek Nemesis. She was even called back to reprise her role in the new Picard series, which is an amazing way to continue the long-lived character of Guinan.
Yes, it was for her role in Generations that she won a Saturn Award for Best Supporting Actress.
That's
very
right.
cool.
Yes. But definitely not the only award that she won. Her greatest accomplishment is her nomination for Academy Awards. She lost her first bid in The Color Purple, that film, however, later won an Oscar for her portrayal of Oda Mae Brown in the film titled Ghost.
Yes, congratulations. Whoopee!
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 It's amazing and wonderful that we have such a diverse pool of talented actors that the producers have been able to pull from, and our next honoree is really no exception, Lily.
No, she is without a doubt one of the most despised villain characters in all of Star Trek, but that is by design, of course. Despite the feelings dredged up by this character, it is almost unanimous that the fans absolutely love her for that very reason. The writing of the twists and turns and the execution given in the performance of the character of Kai Wynn Adami from Deep Space Nine lands actress Louise Fletcher a prominent spot in our countdown.
Wei Yun has made a startling proposal. The Dominion wishes to sign a non-aggression treaty with Bajor.
They're trying to split Bajor from the Federation.
Louise Fletcher, probably best known for her series-long role starting as a lowly, power-hungry Vedic from a small religious order to ending as the nearly all-powerful spiritual leader for the entire Bajoran people. Now, Fletcher got her start as an actress back in 1956, but really gained her fame in the leading role of the notorious nurse Ratchet in the film One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yes, and sadly we have lost her. But Louise won the Academy Award for her performance in that film, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and became the only actress in Star Trek to have ever accomplished that feat.
Impressive.
There are only a total of 5 performers in the history of Star Trek to have been nominated for the Best Leading Actress Oscar. But of all of them, Fletcher took home the ultimate prize.
Thank you, Raj, for that bit of information. And that just proves BK's point of how deep our talent pool is in this Star Trek universe. Trek demands respect.
It does.
I would also like to point out that in the movie, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, that Brad Dourif co-starred with Fletcher and was also nominated for an Academy Award.
Brad Dourif? From Voyager, right? And he was in Alien Resurrection, the film. Oh yeah, I know the name, but I can't place the face. Help me out just a little bit here.
Brad played the role of ex-Maquis Lon Suter in Star Trek Voyager. And Chucky, who was...
But getting back to Louise, her career spanned nearly 70 motion pictures and 70 television series. That's not episodes, that's television series. In total, Louise Fletcher earned 23 nominations, with 13 of those being winning bids.
Wow. Fletcher's most recent roles have been in the 2 episodes of the TV show Girl Boss as Rosie in 2017 and a pair of made-for-TV movies in 2012. On the big screen, she last appeared in a 2020 film, Grizzly 2: Revenge.
Yes, that sounds like an interesting film. It really would have been nice to see her character return for such a prominent role in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Louise Fletcher will be missed.
A captain's log returns in a moment.
Welcome back to A Captain's Log. We're entering our top 3 best guests to star on Trek.
Our next guest actor is a character actor who has much experience not only in theater, but on screen as well. He had his start acting in high school when he performed in a production of William Shakespeare's Henry V.
He's best known for one role in particular over any other.
Yes, he has starred in The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, as well as on Lower Decks recently. In the entire 2nd season of Star Trek Picard, he made appearances as well. We're talking about none other than the lovable nemesis, Q!
I'm forgiven! My brothers and sisters of the Continuum have taken me back.
I'm immortal again! Omnipotent again!
Swell.
Don't fret, Riker. My good fortune is your good fortune.
Cue the misanthrope. Raj, John Delancey is a favorite of our writer Lex Zorn since he watched him on Days of Our Lives. John Sherwood Delancey Jr., that is so special about that letter, Raj. He alone may be, aside from the regular principal cast members, the most recognizable character in all of Star Trek.
You know, I couldn't agree with you more, Lily. Delancey's contributions to the show are integral. Q's character really wasn't intended, as Roddenberry originally had a standard 45-minute pilot script written. Then the studio pushed Gene to expand the pilot to a full 90 minutes, as we learned from the great David Zappone documentary titled Chaos on the Bridge.
Ooh, it's amazing to think about that. But indeed, pressed with time constraints to get the show made, Gene worked hard up until the deadline with DC Fontana and Tracy Torme to rewrite the script for the pilot episode Encounter at Farpoint to include a new storyline and creating the character Q to fill the expanded time in the episode.
Yes, it was quite quickly Delancey's character became a fan favorite, and in time, even his entire family got involved in the franchise.
Wow.
Now, his wife would later play the role of Rivas's chorus members in the second season episode, Loud as a Whisper. And in the Voyager episode, his son Keegan Delancey actually played his on-screen son, Q Jr.
Oh, and what was a surprise to me as well, Brian, was that his younger son, Owen, also played the son of Q in the Star Trek World Tour.
Really? I didn't know that. Interesting. I knew he had two sons.
John did not limit his Q work to just television episodes. Delancey even donned full Borg regalia to play First of Four in the video game Star Trek 4.
And perhaps the end of Q getting a huge, heartfelt hug from Picard in Star Trek Picard Season 2. You know that finale, it really tops the cake for me.
It does. It's, oh, wait. Okay, I want to try something new for this next one, Brian and Raj. So we're going to play sort of a word association game. Okay, great. So I'll say the name of the character.
Oh, again.
So the name of the character is a Klingon who appeared in Next Gen, Captain Chorus.
Okay, I'm thinking of Gul Dunar, not to be confused with Damar.
Oh, both those names make me think of Dr. Telekra Moore from Voyager.
Okay, very nice. And if I said Seskal?
Well, then I would have to say 2 of 9, who was part of 709's original Unimatrix.
Yes, okay,
Yes.
okay. And then, good. Speaking of Voyager, what about the Vidian captain from the episode Fury?
I would then say the Alpha Herosian from Voyager's Flesh and Blood two-parter.
Oh, let's stay with that series, and I give you Korath from Endgame.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump tracks into the mirror universe and say Captain Maximilian Forrest.
You guys did a great job, but I'm sure a lot of the viewers were kind of thrown for a loop. So don't worry, all these characters were played by one very special actor, Vaughn Armstrong.
Yes, Vaughn Armstrong has the distinction of having portrayed more characters in the Star Trek universe than any other actor, with a total of 12 on-screen roles. It may have been difficult to imagine who he was, since most of the time he was covered with thick layers of prosthetics and makeup. However, he's best known to fans as the human recurring role in Enterprise, Star Trek Enterprise, as Admiral Maxwell Forrest in 14 episodes throughout the entire 4-season run. You know, it's one of Lily's favorite series, Star Trek Enterprise.
It is. And Vaughn is also one of 5 actors who's portrayed 7 or more roles on Star Trek Elite Company.
You know, to tap it off, Vaughn Armstrong, ringing in at number 2 here on a Captain's Log, was the first Klingon, aside from Worf, of course, to appear in Star Trek The Next Generation in the episode Heart of Glory, where, of course, Dennis Matalone stunt doubled him.
Mr. Armstrong was on the short list of actors who auditioned for the role of William T. Riker before Jonathan Frakes beat him out.
Absolutely, he was. You know who else was in the running to land the part of our stalwart first officer?
Ooh, let me guess. Our number 1?
Well, how did you ever guess?
Well, oh no, not number 1, Riker.
No, of course not Riker. Although thinking about it now, Frakes would do a great guest spot appearance on Voyager and Enterprise, and of course Star Trek Picard.
BK, you know that was against the rules for the criteria of our countdown.
Yes. I'm just kidding, okay?
Okay.
I'm talking about our number 1 ranking best guest star, and his name is Jeffrey Combs.
Jeffrey Combs! Aha! You got me with that Riker stuff.
Oh, how delightful. The mysterious plots, the subtle innuendo, the veiled threats. It's also entertaining. Oh my, that is quite toxic, isn't it?
I want to fill you in on why Combs earned the #1 ranking on our countdown. A close second to Combs is Vaughn Armstrong's 28 episode appearances, but Jeffrey Combs has shown up an amazing 31 times from Deep Space Nine to Voyager and Enterprise and Lower Decks. He's one of 3 actors to ever play 2 completely different characters in the same episode, and the only one to have actually done it twice.
That's astounding.
Yeah.
No wonder he was given the honorary title of Star Trek's Mr. Everywhere. His roles are as follows, or at least some of them that we can name in time here. From Deep Space Nine, he was Tyron, Brunt, FCA, Weyoun's 4 through 8, where he also appeared to Sisko as a Bajoran prophet in the image of Weyoun.
Oh, wow. He only had 1 role and appearance in Voyager, and that was as Pank, the ringleader of the Tsunkatsi matches. And this is the episode that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson made his official acting debut when he fought against a coerced 7 of 9. Combs returned again to multiple roles in Enterprise, where he played another Ferengi, Krem, and his most notable role from the series, and my favorite, the Andorian Shran.
Yes, my favorite too. I love the role of Shran.
There is still time to end this.
It can only end one way. This is not what I wanted.
Things have a way of turning out differently than we expect.
I'm glad we met. In your honor, I'll continue to support cooperation between the Imperial Guard and your species.
It was even rumored by the production head, Manicato, that had Enterprise been picked up for a 5th season, Jeffrey Combs would have been made a principal cast member as Shran. Although Combs states that he was dubious about this, as he was never approached by the executives.
Raj, you make a good point there. And since you are our animated android, I would also like to direct your attention to the fact that Combs played another role more recently. He voiced the character of Agamus on the 2nd season episode Where Pleasant Fountains Lie from Star Trek Lower Decks.
It's so good.
Yes.
Oh, wow, that's great.
You know, BK, sometimes though, I think it's futile trying to reason with a tin can man.
Yes, I would agree. We hope you've enjoyed our inside look at the best guest stars to grace our Star Trek franchise. Lily, you have info on our next top 10 list.
Yes, I do, BK. Our next top 10 will be sending Raj on an away mission as a journalistic endeavor to the planet Nivar, or as it's otherwise known, Vulcan.
Wow! Yippee! My first away mission for the show!
Bye for now.
Manifested yourself into a human I can depend on to bring me happy.